AyseeTech&Tips channel. Please like and subscribe to get the new video updates. As an aspiring computer technician, you'd likely to hear terms like motherboard, cards, power supply, hard drive, and cables. It's time for us to talk about the computer hardware components. Let us first enumerate the characteristics of a computer hardware. Computer hardware is the physical parts of the computer. It's the things that you can touch, see, and feel. It is constructed using physical materials and components. It operates under the control of software. If it is damaged, it will be replaced with a new one. It is not affected by computer viruses and cannot be transferred from one place to another electronically through network. Lastly, users cannot make new duplicate copies of the hardware. The physical basic parts of a desktop computer includes the following: system unit, monitor, keyboard, mouse, and cables. Let us first have this thing. What do you call this thing again? Yes, it's the system unit. It is also known as computer chassis, tower, or CPU when referring to the case rather than the processor, or cabinet. It is a metal and plastic enclosure that contains most of the components of a personal computer. The front panel of the case usually has the CD or DVD drive tray open button, USB ports, headphone and microphone jacks, power switch, and reset button. How about this one? That's the monitor. It is an electronic visual computer display that includes a screen, a circuitry, and the case in which that circuitry is enclosed. It is also known as a screen or a visual display unit. Older computer monitor made use of cathode ray tubes, which made them large, heavy, and inefficient. How about this one? Yes, I think everybody is very familiar with this one. This is the keyboard. It is a typewriter-style device which uses an arrangement of buttons or keys to act as mechanical levers or electronic switches. It is also used to give commands to the operating system of a computer, such as Windows Control-Alt-Delete combination. It is one of the main ways to communicate with a computer. There are many different types of keyboards, but most are very similar and allow you to accomplish the same basic task. Do you know what this one is? It's a mouse. It is a handheld pointing device that detects two-dimensional motion relative to a surface. This motion is typically translated into the motion of a pointer and a display, which allows smooth control of the graphical user interface of a computer. It is an important tool for communicating with computers, and it is also commonly known as a pointing device. It lets you point to objects on the screen, click on them, and move them. Have you ever looked inside a computer case or seen pictures of them? You may think that the small parts may look complicated. Definitely, it is not that difficult. This lesson will help you master some of the basic terminologies and understand more about what goes on inside a computer. Let us first have the motherboard. It is a thin plate that holds the CPU, the memory, connectors for the hard and optical drives, expansion cards to control the video and audio, and connections to your computer ports such as USB. The motherboard connects directly or indirectly to every part of the computer. It's a wide circuit board that all other components are plugged into. It's the part that all these components send electrical currents composing data between each other. Another is the power supply. It converts the power from the wall outlet to the type of power needed by the computer. It sends power through cables to the motherboard and other components. So that's it with the simple parts. Let's now move on to the more complex parts, the one that deals with data. The components to keep in mind here are the following: the central processing unit, or the CPU, The random access memory, the RAM, hard disk drive or HDD, optical disk drive, ODD, video card, sound card, and the network interface card. So let's start with the CPU or the central processing unit. It is sometimes called the brain of the computer, and its job is to carry out the commands. Whenever you press a key, click the mouse, or start an application, you're sending an instruction to the CPU. The CPU is where the computer does things. The CPU is where the computer does things. It's very good at doing things with data, quickly reading it, arranging it, and doing the type of quick and massive calculations needed to run a program. Now let's have the RAM or the random access memory. It is your system's short term memory. Whenever your computer performs calculations, it temporarily stores the data in the RAM until it is needed. Next, we have the hard disk drive or the HDD. It is where your software, documents, and other files are stored. The hard drive is long term storage, which means the data is still saved even if you turn the computer off or unplug it. We also have here the optical disk drive or the ODD. The most common types of optical media are Blu-ray, CDs, and DVDs. Computers can read and write to CDs and DVDs using a CD writer or DVD writer drive. Drives such as a CDR and a DVD-R drive that can read and write information to disk are known as magneto-optic. Now let's go to the expansion or add-on cards. Most computers have expansion slots on the motherboard that allows you to add various types of expansion cards. These are sometimes called peripheral component interconnect or PCI cards. You may never need to add any PCI cards because most motherboards have built-in video sound, network cards, and other capabilities. But as an aspiring computer technician, we should have a little knowledge about these add-on cards or expansion cards. First, let's have this video card. Video card is a printed circuit board controlling output to display screen. It means that it is responsible for what you see on the monitor. Most computers have graphics processing unit or GPU built in the motherboard instead of having a separate video card. If you like playing graphics intensive games, you can add a faster video card to one of the expansion slots to get better performance. Video cards are also called as display card, graphics card, or graphics adapter. Another type of expansion card or add-on card is the sound card. It is an internal expansion card that provides input and output of audio signals to and from computer under control of a computer programs. It means that it is responsible for what you hear in the speakers or headphones. Most motherboards have integrated sound, but you can upgrade to a dedicated sound card for higher quality sound. Sound card is also called as audio card. The last but not the least is the network interface card. It is a common hardware component that connects a computer to a computer network and access the internet. It can either connect with an Ethernet cable or through a wireless connection often called as Wi-Fi. Many motherboards have built-in network connections, and a network card can also be added to an expansion. Network interface card is also called as network interface controller, network adapter, or LAN adapter or physical network interface. Lastly, let's have these wires and cables. Your computer cables are one of the most critical components of your desktop or notebook computer. Your cables connect you and your computer to keyboards, mouse, printers, speakers, TVs, and the world. There are many types of cables. However, it is hard to find a singular source of information that highlights the important differences between them all. Here is an overview of the most common computer cable types you will encounter when dealing with computers. This is how a video graphics array or VGA cable look like. VGA cable is a standard cable used to connect a computer to a monitor. It can be identified by 15 pins arranged in 3 rows with 5 on each row. Each row corresponds to the 3 different color channels used in display: the red, green, and blue. VGA comes in 2 types, the male and the female connector. This is how a digital visual interface or DVI cable look like. DVI is a digital interface used to connect a video source such as a video display controller to a display device such as a computer monitor. It became the successor to VGA as technology moved away from analog towards digital. This is how high definition multimedia interface or HDMI cable looked like. It is a trademark and a brand name for a digital interface used to transmit audio and video data in a single cable. This one is the Integrated Drive Electronics or IDE cable. It is a standard type of connection for storage devices in computer. It refers to the types of cables and ports used to connect some hard drives and optical drives to each other and to the motherboard. If you ever open up an old hard drive, then you'll likely know what an IDE connector looks like. It's the wide cable that looks like a ribbon with more than 2 plugs. Then the connector on an IDE cable have 40 pins. The smaller 2.5 inches drive variety. This is a form factor version on the IDE that had 44 pins. This one is the Serial Advanced Technology Attachment or SATA cable. It is a computer bus interface that connects hot bus adapters to mass storage devices such as hard disk drives, optical drives, and solid state drives. Compared to IDE, SATA provides higher data transfer speeds. The motherboard needs to be compatible with SATA. A standard SATA cable can be identified by 2 connectors, each having 7 pins and an empty notch. It looks like a subtle L shape. The last type of cable we're going to take up is the Ethernet cable. It is a common type of network cable used with wired networks. It connects devices such as PCs, routers, and switches with local area network. So that's it. Those are the computer hardware components of a desktop computer. Now for our short activity, I want you to identify what hardware component is necessary in order to make the following situations work. Are you ready? Number 1. What cable am I going to use in order to connect my computer to wired networks? Yes, very good. You are going to use Ethernet cable or local area network cable in order for us to connect to wired networks. Question number 2. I am not so satisfied with my screen display. What am I going to do in order to upgrade it so that I can play graphic intensive games? You got it right. In order for you to play graphic intensive games, you must install an add-on graphics card. For question number 3, I haven't mentioned its name but I have shown you a picture of this a while ago describing it as one of the cables that allows computer to be connected to an electrical power. What cable are we going to use then in order to connect our computer units to an electrical power? Amazing! You got it right! We will use the power cable. A power cable or a power cord is the primary cable that provides power to the computer, printer, monitor, and components within a computer. I hope you had fun time learning with me. Special thanks to SlideScope for a very presentable PowerPoint template. See you in our next lesson. Bye!